Hi, my name is Joseph Githara, and I am the founder of two businesses, DK Interiors and It's a Hoodie. And today I want to just talk about a little bit about the history and how I started these two businesses. And I started them with my wife. And the first business we began was DK, which we started in 2019, around July. And the previous history of where we were at is we had been abroad for a while and had been working there, and so when we got back into the country we had saved a bit and we wanted to do something new, something a bit different, something challenging for the both of us. And even though we are studied, we were like, even though we have papers and all that, we weren't keen on being employed. So we decided to take up the bit of savings that we had and think of businesses that we could start. And so when we got back into the country, we located to Ruaka, that's where the business is. And so we decided to look into businesses that are around in Ruaka, prospects of something that we can invest in and will bring returns just from being in this particular location. And since Ruaka has been growing and expanding, our first business idea, what we were thinking about at that time, was doing hardware. We wanted to do a hardware. We saw buildings coming up, people are building, land is being bought, plots are being made. So we were thinking hardwares would make a lot of money, and already in Ruaka there were so many hardwares. And as we surveyed the area, just went to the hardwares around to see what they had and what they got, we realized very quickly that starting a hardware, firstly, would need a lot of money, huge capital, because you need a huge stocks to be able to begin. And secondly, it would need a lot of expertise, which of course we hadn't had expertise in, like building or things of hardware. So because of that, we saw that unless we would have to hire someone to learn everything, it would take time. So we looked again and we had another business idea. And at that time we thought about like a bookstore, the kind like in town where you can get accessories, those kind of things. But then we thought to ourselves, that's seasonal, maybe back to school it will make more money and then it's going to be quiet for the rest of the duration. So finally, because of my wife's love for interior, making the house nice and all that stuff, we thought about having now a decor shop. So again, surveying the area, seeing what is there, what's not there, and realizing because people are moving into this area and people nowadays are into decorating their houses. They like comfortable, lovely looking homes, and this is the place, this is the crowd where people, this is the area where such people want such stuff. So we didn't see any deco shops at the time when we were beginning. There weren't many, and so we just scouted for locations, and I'd say that's like the first initial step of how we got to the journey. So since we had the business idea, we were now kind of getting firmly to, we had grasped that this idea now made sense. It was the better of the like two we had thought about. And so we started to look for locations. And now Ruaka, most shops are by the roadside. So as we walked quite a bit onwards to like Denderu, that side, and most shops were not that appealing at the time, and especially we were trying to like sell appealing things. So I think on a particular random day we were just in the house, and as we left walking, I feel like we've walked past this building so many times, but for a reason that day we noticed, hey, like there are stalls in here, let's go in, let's ask, let's see the sizes, let's see what businesses are already in here. So we came, realized there's an Equity, bank, there's a hospital at the top, there are salons, that kind of thing, clothes shops. So it kind of looks like there will be traffic, people can walk in, So again, location and flow of traffic of people, customers, that kind of thing. Those are the things that kind of influenced us to get this place. So, and then close proximity to where we live as well. So it's affordable, there's no transport cost, that kind of thing. And we just now we settled on it. We chose like one of the stalls, and we now were thinking, so how we bought the stock and the funding that we needed. So firstly, because it's something fully new, we wanted to see, we knew people imported things, but we had no avenue to do it at the moment. So we were thinking how we can use the budget that we had. So this budget we had been saving. So when we had been abroad, I was working as well, and as I was a student, and we had saved some cash. So now coming this little cash, because you were thinking what can you do with it, is where we started to invest. And it wasn't the kind that was enough to like import a lot of goods. So because we had a little bit of money, we sourced things locally. So we were going to areas even like Kamkunji, and it's also a learning process, because we didn't know exactly what people would like, what was really in. So we were experimenting with the little that you have. And I think in business it's important to realize you sometimes risk, see returns in one area, and sometimes you'll see losses. But that's not the idea. You have to grow into it and then get a knack for it. So with the budget we sourced locally, we saw response from customers, clients. It's convenient if someone can walk here and I got goods from quite a distance. So because of that, we grew a good clientele base slowly. Okay, so with the money we had saved, we obviously had to sit down and create a budget for the business. So we have identified the location. We know the price of the rent of the area. So the price for this particular stall was 15,000, and it's still the same. Now we also were thinking if this stall were in town, the cost would be higher. It would be more expensive even for such a large space. And at least with such a large space, with household items, you can be creative. So the next stage we were thinking, so we had to put a budget even for the setup of the shop, where we would get the wood, someone to come and paint like appealing colors, that kind of thing. And for this, the budget would have been around 50,000 with the correct kind of wood and the manpower that would be used to make. But fortunately, we had a friend help us with the wood. So we saved money, around 45,000, for the wood that was used to create the shelves, and so that we could allocate to something different. So now the major part of the budget would to go to the getting stock, and because we were sourcing quite locally in the beginning, we knew it wouldn't make profit in the get-go. So we were kind of testing the waters and seeing what works and what doesn't. So of course, the budget set for goods, we allocated it in a way that we could get different goods from different people at a wholesale price, and in that way, if you mark up the price, you don't have to do it too much, and this kind of is good even to bring in clients and customers. Now, in the long run, we always knew that to make even the pricing more affordable, we would have to now import from, let's say, China, and then now that would make it even easier for us to get better profits because of large scale importing. So that was now the next stage of what we were trying to execute. As you must know by now, business is not always rosy. So here we have invested, we have started our business, and you see the light, you see people are liking the stuff, people are interested in what you have brought to them. And now by the end of the year we get COVID, and everything changes. So the beginning of 2020 now had a lot of challenges because of now COVID, and now because our stuff they are leisure items, and this is a time where people really were mostly going for necessities. So things are not going how they were. The business started well, and we are seeing the growth is coming. We now see none of that, and we are thinking what to do. So because of now, one of the advantages, and that one thing that I for us that worked out somehow, I think God maybe made a way, because we also do wallpapers now. That is part of interior decor. Now wallpapers, we source them from someone wholesale, and these ones, because we had catalogs and we had referrals, people somehow were still decorating the houses with wallpapers, and this was kind of what helped during that hard time. But now because of that, and because COVID lasted longer than anyone even expected, and it divulged into something no one thought it would, we now were thinking on how to supplement now this business. Because if you can think on one direction and something totally changes it, you have to be on your toes in thinking of where else can I get some income from that can be a bit more stable. Yet again, because we had not foreseen such a thing. We had not been in business long enough to know that such a thing can change everything. And so this is where now we had now sat down and conceived now our second business, which is It's a Hoodie, and will be discussed further even by my wife. And so that's the story of DK.